topic. So we have our guest, Dr. Karen. Dr. Karen is a licensed clinical counselor. Welcome, Dr. Karen.
Thank you so much, Anita. What I specialize in is actually with neuroplasticity, meaning your brain is actually able to change structurally. It's able to let go of patterns and programs that don't work for it anymore and learn some new ways of behaving, some new coping skills that can be so natural, you don't even realize you're doing something different until you think, I'm not doing that negative thing I swore I would never do anymore. It just seems so much easier now to be the person that I really desire to be. So sometimes people ask me how long, when they want to get sessions, they'll say, how many sessions am I going to need? And the answer is, it depends. Now, I've worked with people, one gal, she actually had an ongoing sleep issue for years and years. She had insomnia. And in one session, it was cleared up. And so that's the way I'd love for everybody to be. And I'll do 90 minutes with each session, really going into the wiring in the brain. And when I say going into it, I mean, you're in a very relaxed state, and I'm teaching your brain how to do a set of programs of what are the instructions to rewire. So when you're rewiring your brain, you're retraining, your goal is to get rid of the negative emotions and the painful, traumatic memories and those disempowering beliefs that just don't help us be who we want to be. So we want to teach your brain to move those out and then bring in, because you have to rewire with something positive, or your brain will just go back into those old patterns. Addiction, it's very easy actually to retrain addiction out of the brain, because addiction is simply a desire to get more of a feeling that we want to have or escape a feeling we don't want to have. So it's really not about a gene that you have to address. It's about the coping skills that you learned at a very young age. I was really surprised to find out most of the way we operate every day is based on our first 4 to 6 years of memories, the coping skills we learned to survive in our own particular family. So how do I get attention? How do I avoid punishment? How do I feel loved? How do I belong? And then we carry those kind of like rules with us throughout life, and we keep on responding to new people in those old ways, and we don't even know why. So there's 2 ways that you can actually rewire your brain. One is a directed way, and that's the way that I do it, where I'm literally directing your brain. We identify what emotions do I not want to have, and then what emotions do I want to have. And the other way is non-directed. The non-directed way, you don't have to learn anything other than how your brain works. So an example of a non-directed way, and I'm going to stick to the ways that science has really backed it up. Neuroscience there have been many studies basically to back up what I'm saying. The method that I use is very backed up neurologically. There have been brain scans done that show your neurons are actually letting go of the couplings, the programs, the axon, the dendrites are moving, and they're literally making new memories in your brain during the process. So I love that. I love that empirical evidence. Now, the other thing that you can do, one that has been very well studied, is gratitude. If you make, and you want to, when you do a gratitude list, I'm not talking about chanting, and I'm not talking about sticky notes that you look in the mirror and you say, I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. There is actually a true process to this. The most important thing with the gratitude list, if you want to create a learning program in your brain, if you want your unconscious to begin trying to prove it, we call that confirmation bias. When you give your brain a set of instructions, it will go on a search tool. It'll basically say, is this true? Is this true? Is it true? And it will look for evidence in your mind or in your outside circumstances. So I want you to give your brain an instruction to look for proof that you have things to be grateful for. It's very easy. You want to write things down. When you write your list, you're actually triggering your brain to create a learning program and then to prove if it's true. So one study was done in China where they had 2 groups of people. One wrote down a list every day of just things they were grateful for that day. Now, when I personally did this, a couple of years ago, when I was going through the hardest situation of my life, I was writing down things like, I'm so grateful the sun is shining. I am so grateful I have electricity. I mean, I had to go for the most core things to be grateful for. And I did. I wrote down 10 new things every day. So the people who wrote down the positive things did that. And then the other group of people wrote down things that were anger. They did traditional counseling journaling, right? Vent it, get it out. At the end of the study, what they determined was the people who had a negative list became more pessimistic, began to be angry at the people in their life, began to be more suspicious and paranoid. And the people who wrote about gratitude began to feel that people in their life loved them. They began to see positive opportunities in their life. They really began to be a happier person. It really is true that what you focus on, you will produce more of. And I like to say, you will experience what you expect. So the other thing that has been very strongly studied, believe it or not, is prayer. It turns out that our brains are wired for prayer, and prayer rewires our brains. One of the outcomes of prayer studies is that it increases the parts of your brain that produce compassion. So prayer makes you a more compassionate person. So, I think it's just wonderful that we are given all of these ways to change our brain wiring. I think, for me, I attribute that to God, that He set up our brains for the purpose that we can help ourselves. So one of the most important emotions, not surprisingly, that rewires your brains is love. And the next is gratitude, and another is freedom. So what I often have people do, in addition to the process I work with them, at the end of it, I'll have them choose an emotion they would really like to feel. And then I'll have them choose an area of their life they would like to have that emotion in. So it might be your finances, it might be your marriage, it might be a future love relationship. And I will have people actually write everything positive they can think or imagine they want to be true. Now, your brain does not differentiate between something happening in here and something happening out here. It's all the same to your brain. Multiple athletic studies have proven whatever you imagine, your muscle memory will store. So you can imagine shooting basketball hoops. And if you do that for a week, you will be surprised to go into the gym and be so much better than you were the last time you practiced. Okay, so if you want to do a directed retraining, here's another way I would suggest. I want you to imagine a problem, say a mild problem. Go ahead and do it right now. Imagine a mild problem, a mild irritation. And what I want you to do is change your breathing, because I want you to release adrenaline and acetylcholine. This is a cool trick learned from Dr. Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist in California. He's a professor. He says is when you breathe in and out quite slowly, but repeatedly. So it's just like when I'm weightlifting, when I'm bodybuilding, I want to build adrenaline in my body so that I'm stronger. So you want to build adrenaline, because when we go to focus on the problem, your brain is going to take adrenaline and acetylcholine, and it's going to attach them to the neurons. It's like painting them. I call it tagging it. So it's painting those neurons with these chemicals, and the chemicals prep the neurons for the change, and they create a motivation for that change to happen. So begin thinking about your mild issue and breathe in and out. And I want you just to say, I am willing for this to change. It is amazing what making a decision, and this is why in the Bible, it talks about make a choice, make a decision, choose this day. It's full of neurobiology. I was amazed to find that. So you want to make a choice and a decision, and that actually affects your atoms. In quantum physics, I won't go too deep into it, but in quantum physics, your expectations actually change the atomic behavior of your body and of your world, this virtual reality we live in. So don't be afraid to make decisions and to make them out loud and to mean them. All right. And then what I want you to do is focus as strongly as you can on the problem and just how much it really bothers you. I am so sick of this. Man, I'm tired of this. Man, I'm so willing to change this. and think about how you feel when you have the problem. Maybe you see the person and you see their facial expression and you know what that means, or you hear those words, or your body tenses up. You know, your unconscious communicates through your body. And most illness is stress related, unless there is a definite cause. You know, you got a bacteria. Okay. And what I want you to do now is take a nice deep breath. And now we're going to get rid of some of that adrenaline. So you're going to hold the second breath. And I want you to go to your emotion that you've chosen, something you would love to be feeling instead of what you have been feeling in this situation. It might be love. It might be gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful this got resolved. It might be joy or empowerment or freedom. Just pick one. And if you've ever experienced it before, remember what it's like. And if you haven't, just imagine what you think it would feel like. The emotions are actually a result of the neurotransmitters you produce when you think a thought. So I always say, I can get happy in the same pants I got mad in, because I know I can change my feelings anytime I want by addressing my thoughts and saying, is this true? What I'm thinking, is it really, really true? Or am I kind of dramatizing it? Am I making it bigger? And even if it is true, what would I like to believe or feel instead? And I make my mind go to these preferred thoughts. And your brain chemistry cannot help it. Your chemistry follows your thoughts. So if you will discipline yourself to adjust your thoughts, you will have a better outcome. So now I want you to focus as strongly as you can on your emotion, and I want you to release dopamine. Your brain is going to release dopamine on these new neural programs that you're creating. And just imagining if it's that person, I want you to just imagine if it was totally resolved in the way that you really loved, how you could feel so excited about it, how you could feel love for yourself, if not for them. And just love the fact that it's resolved. Love the fact that things were able to work out in the way you desired. So take a nice deep breath and go back to that problem you were having and just notice the changes. For some people, it feels 100% better already. For some people, it feels a little bit better. Whatever it feels, just congratulate yourself. That's another thing that has come out of Navy SEAL research. You will have more of what you desire if you congratulate yourself for the steps you're taking to get there. So if you've been wanting to go to the gym or work out, if you even make one step, like making an appointment, say, well done, good job, yes. And you know, I am very sanguine. I can do that in front of people. I'm in the gym, and when I've had a really good set, I'm like, yeah. But you're not quite that outgoing. In your mind, simply say, good job, I'm proud of you. It sounds silly, but your brain is hearing those words, and it truly does increase your dopamine, and it's all about dopamine. Do you have any questions, Benita?
I think it's beautiful what you just described. I love it, the way you just described the training your brain, and you mentioned that you won the bodybuilding competition. I mean, that's really beautiful. So we all have to learn this trick. We don't know how to do it, and that's the thing. I wish that there is some kind of a systematic logic that whatever I'm thinking can automatically be goes into an app, and then out comes your voice and say, do this, do that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is so funny. I was just thinking about the other day about making a brain retraining app for people.
So, well, have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. We just wanted to have a quick session today to how to train your brain, and hope this helps you. And yes, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Karen, for being with us.
And if you would like to buy the book, please go on my website, thebrainretrain.com, or get it on Amazon.
All right. I will definitely check it out. Thank you.